brandishing a weapon. And it reads, every person who, except in self-defense, in the presence of any other person, draws or exhibits any deadly weapon whatsoever other than a firearm this was a firearm, right? So let's go to paragraph 2 that covers firearms. Every person who, except in self-defense, in the presence of any other person, draws or exhibits any firearm, whether loaded or unloaded, in a rude, angry, or threatening manner, or who in any manner unlawfully uses a firearm in any fight or quarrel, is punishable as follows. So it's a crime, and basically it's a 3-month minimum sentence and a fine. But it is a misdemeanor, but it's a criminal offense. Did the clerk do this? Did he exhibit a firearm in a rude, angry, threatening manner towards the clerk? Well, he did. Did he do it in self-defense? Well, he didn't do it in deadly force self-defense. We know that, right? Because we know he would not have been justified in using deadly force because he was aware that he was not facing an actual deadly force threat. Could it have been lawful, non-deadly self-defense? And this is one of those little ambiguities that would make this an interesting law school final exam, because we have now a distinction between the actual use of force and the mere threat of force. And often this distinction is not well defined in the law. I think partly that's because often mere threats of force that look anything like self-defense tend not to be prosecuted. It's only when there's an actual use of force. Some states have made the effort to either treat those the same, use and threat, or to make a clarification of the distinction. California kind of does it in a backhanded way, in the sense that the jury instruction we just looked at was for killings, right? It was for homicides, murders or manslaughter charges. So there, obviously, you used the force, right? You killed somebody. It wasn't merely a threat of force. But a mere threat of deadly force, maybe you could characterize that as a use of non-deadly force. So you haven't killed anyone, so that wouldn't be the controlling California jury instruction that we just looked at, California 505. Let's see what else we have here in terms of California jury instructions for use of force. We do have another one. How about that? This is Cal Crim 347L. Right to self-defense, non-homicide. So you haven't killed someone. Self-defense is a defense to, presumably, brandishing in this context. The defendant's not guilty of brandishing if he used force against the other person in lawful self-defense. The defendant acted in lawful self-defense if the defendant reasonably believed that he was in imminent danger of suffering bodily injury or of being touched unlawfully. So now we don't require death or serious bodily injury. We only require bodily injury. Touching would be enough for that. And the defendant reasonably believed that the immediate use of force was necessary to defend against that danger, and the defendant used no more force than was reasonably necessary to defend against that danger. Well, here the clerk didn't believe he was in any danger. Before he went to his gun, he knew he was facing a fake gun, or at least he believed that he knew that. So this would not appear to apply because he didn't actually believe he was facing any threat at all. It's not like the robber tried to climb over the counter, or even attempted to try to use the fake gun as an impact weapon, or exhibited some other threat. The fake armed robber fled the moment he saw the clerk's gun. So what was the threat he was defending himself against? I mean, of course, in fairness, the robber didn't flee until he saw the clerk's gun. So when the clerk's making the decision to present the gun, the armed robber's still standing there pointing what appears to the clerk to be a toy gun at him. Now, again, the clerk did not actually use force. The clerk threatened force, but didn't actually use it. And California doesn't make a great distinction. So one other thing I want to mention, by the way, if the clerk had a genuine good faith subjective belief and a reasonable belief that he was facing a real gun, everything he did would be lawful, including if he had shot and killed the robber. even though it turned out the gun was not real. We already covered that. The only reason we know that the clerk didn't possess that belief is why? Because the clerk told us. The clerk severely damaged his legal defenses by simply telling the whole world that he knew it wasn't a real gun in the robber's hand. Certainly, he told the media. We have him in that video. Either in that way or by directly speaking with police, he told the police. Now, he's not revealing this information out of any kind of malice. He's probably just trying to explain, yeah, I didn't think I had to shoot him because I knew his gun was fake. So I did the right thing, right? That's the right thing. If you don't have to kill someone, you probably ought not kill them. But man, you think if he ends up criminally charged with brandishing, his lawyer is going to be happy that he told the whole world that he knew he wasn't facing a real gun? I mean, he could have just kept his hands on the counter if he believed he was facing a real gun and not be putting himself on the hook for a brandishing charge. So even the use of non-deadly force by the clerk would not appear to be lawful under California law.